It's 4 o'clock. I'd like to call this board meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Krieger. Begin.
Excused.
Coonan.
Here.
Eric.
Here.
Ryder.
Here.
Lutz.
Here.
Ranchak.
Here.
6 members present, my excuse.
Thank you. Please rise for the invocation and the pledge of allegiance.
Lord God, the strength of all who put their trust in you, we ask that you will bless this session of the Board of Commissioners this day, and that you will lead and guide this board in the decisions made, so that all citizens in this community will benefit. In your holy name we ask this. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioners, we have minutes 12:11, 12:18, 1:2 of 19, and 1:8 of 19. What is your pleasure?
Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion carried. Before we go into public comment, we have Supervisor Glenn Rowley here from Bangor Township, and Dr. Lee Newton going to do a little presentation to Mr. Barsha in Bay County. Would you like to say a few words first there?
Mr. Chairman, County Commissioners, the Honorable Mr. Barsha, staff, elected officials, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Glenn Rowley, and I have the pleasure and privilege to be the supervisor of Bangor Township. This dream job of mine comes with many perks. One of those is a position with a seat in the town and the township's Downtown Development Authority, which allows me to work with some fabulous people. The top of that list is the DDA's chairperson, Dr. Lee Newton, who I would like to introduce you to. So without any further ado, Dr. Newton.
That was generous, Glenn. Nonetheless, thank you for your time. Thank you for this opportunity. Brief moments, if I may, talk about the history of the Bangor DDA. It was created along with the tax increment financing agreements with the affected taxing jurisdictions in 1989, having a 30-year duration. Our initial project was the construction of the Bay City Mall. The TIF agreements called for the pass-through to the affected taxing jurisdictions to be 25% upon satisfying bonds for the mall construction. The actual history of pass-through is as follows. 3% began in 1995, which was prior to the retirement of the bonds, increased to 25% in 1996 and beyond, increased to 33% in 2004 and 2005, increased to 50% tax through in 2006, and remains at 50% in 2019. In addition to the yearly pass-through of tax revenue, the Bangor DDA has authorized 4 one-time additional lump sum pass-through events, 2010, 14, 17, and 19, for a total of $900,000 additional. I'm here before you today with Mr. Rowley to present the check of Bay County's prorated portion of the most recent $200,000 lump sum distribution, of which Bay County's portion is $110,401.69. The background and thought process of the additional disbursements are as follows, as an excerpt from the Bangor DDA Tax Authority Financial Policy Statement of Record. Careful consideration must be given to a proper balance between captured funds exclusively for development and pass-through sharing of funds to allow the taxing units to benefit from the development and keep pace with added costs due to inflation and increased services as the result of development. Areas such as added police, fire, road maintenance, waste collections, etc., as well as added costs associated with insurances, benefits, and wages must be considered on a sustained basis. At the same time, long-term development should be weighed to establish a cycle to continue development and gain the benefits derived from such developments. In addition to the obvious excitement and enthusiasm that accompanies the distribution of funds, I would like to bring your attention to the fact that the DDA is in the process of redefining the boundaries of its current development area from which TIF revenue is collected. Other than the likely elimination of a handful of residential properties that happen to lie within an area zoned commercial, we don't anticipate material changes. Subsequent to redefining our development area, it will be necessary to engage in thoughtful dialogue with the affected taxing jurisdictions, Bay County and others, to determine the interest and appetite to extend our current TIF agreements, which expire in November 2019. Presently, in our 30th year, we feel that we have accomplished much in the community's best interest. However, we also feel that we have more work to do, including but not limited to several properties ripe for redevelopment, some vacant land yet to be developed, and a large eyesore at the southeast corner of Euclid and Wilder. Of course, coming to the table with as much data as possible through which thoughtful and constructive dialogue may ensue is and will remain our only blueprint for progress. The history and reputation of the Bangor DDA has been built on many years of judicious use of public dollars, and we do not intend to change course anytime soon. Intelligent, courteous, and respectful discussions will be our singular mechanism of communication and exchanging information. I want to thank you again for your time. I'm happy to entertain any questions. I don't want to consume too much of the meeting's time. I did compile a list of projects that the DDA has completed over its 30-year history, and that is distributed for your review.
Mr. Barsha?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Rowley and Dr. Newton, I want to thank you for the stellar leadership you've provided to the Bangor DDA, and say that for a short while I was honored to be the vice chair of the Bangor DDA and work closely with you. And I know the important work you're doing with Bangor Township. I know that at one point our fiscal analyst for the board and a commissioner or two had inquired about certain residential properties being included in the DDA district, and it's my understanding the maps have been redrawn primarily to exclude residential from business commercial property. I know you referenced that briefly in terms of your new boundaries of your DDA district.
We don't have official new boundaries yet, but we're in the process of doing that.
Yeah, and you want to focus it on commercial and business properties.
That's correct.
Yes, I think that would alleviate, unless some of the commissioners have concerns about the boundaries. I know I spoke with Mr. Redmond about it, and that was his concern, and you're addressing that, correct?
Correct.
So residential properties will be removed from the Bangor DDA. And then if possible, I'm wondering if the chair of the board and we're very appreciative of our share of the return, and you've been very generous. I know that with the Bay County Ice Arena, over the last several years, you have donated from your DDA proceeds, from some of the profit generated, not profit, but revenue generated, that you've been donated in excess of $3.5 million to the Bay County Civic Arena and some other projects that you have helped the county with relative to, for example, the new brewery. What's it called there on Shrestha Drive? Yeah, Tri-City Brewery. Instrumental in about $250,000 of infrastructure for that site being transferred from the city to the township. So I want to compliment you on the job that you've done as a DDA. And I can't speak for the commission, but I think that you have a record that any DDA could be proud of. And before you leave today, if you wouldn't mind, maybe for posterity, maybe having a photo with the chairman and myself representing the board and the past support they've given you to commemorate the transfer of $200,000 to tax-paying entities. So thanks.
Do that now? Come on, ready to do it.
Who's got a camera?
Thank you so much. So the keeper of the plans. The keeper of the plans.
All right, next on the agenda is public comment. At this time, according to Article 11, Section 4A, I am going to implement a 5-minute speaking time. So
I was up here before you asked for that. It'll be worth every minute over 5.
and Mr. Lutz is taking, he is the official timekeeper.
Yes. I better start before he gets his clock out.
Our Sergeant at Arms is out today.
Excellent. My luck. Well, thank you. Judge Minor, probate judge, and family court judge. Thank you, everybody. I decided to come and share some good news. While I don't have check in hand, I might be able to say that the check is in the mail. So Chairman, Commissioners, County Executive, other elected officials, I wanted to tell you about some great results. If you remember, a couple of years ago when I was just newly elected, I received permission from our chief judge and with the blessing of Corporation Counsel at the time and with your support, we entered into a lawsuit. We had a significant issue with what we typically call 4E funding, which I think the commissioners are familiar with, when it is our child care fund for children who have been removed from the home and if they qualify for that funding. In 2016, we sued the Department of Health and Human Services for 2 cases. At the time, we had 2 young men who were brought into care who were eligible for 4E funding through the Department of Health and Human Services, but were denied that because of what we thought was a misinterpretation of the Social Security Act and how the funding should be attributed to the youth. We were denied the 4E funding, therefore making the county 100% responsible for the care of these 2 children. Well, they were young men, they were teenagers. And as you may know, and if you haven't heard, I'll be more than happy to tell anyone who is willing to listen, teenagers are difficult to place. We are at a maximum with our licensing of foster homes. We don't have enough foster homes, and teenagers are in fact difficult. These young men were placed in residential facilities, which of course are extremely expensive. But the good news is that we won at the trial level. We have both Judge Sharon and Judge Gill who heard the cases. There was a companion case that was actually happening in Standish. Judge Volbach also decided at the time, had a very similar case, to sue the department, and we were right on his tail, right behind him in the same process using the same attorney. Judge Gill heard the Standish case and Judge Sharon heard the Bay County case. Those cases were both appealed. We won at the local level, the trial court level, and then they were appealed to, of course, the Court of Appeals. I had the pleasure and the privilege of attending the oral argument. The attorney that we hired who specializes in this field was dynamic, and as a result, she won. But because the Standish case was before us, their case actually got published. It's a big deal in legal world. Ours didn't get published, but we'll take the win anyway. So the case is Joseph Aat versus the Department of Health and Human Services. It was for publication on November 27th of 2018. And basically what the court said, and I'll just kind of summarize it, is that we conclude that because the temporary detention order issued against the child was not an order removing him from his home and into foster care, that fact that the order did not include a contrary to the welfare finding against the law does not preclude the plaintiff's eligibility for 4E foster care funding. What had happened were the young men in all of these cases were detained. They were arrested and they were placed in the juvenile home, and then their parents wouldn't take them. Then it entered into a foster care case. And because that first order into detention didn't have some of the required language for the Social Security Act, that's why DHS was denying our funding. So we challenged it because they were wrong, quite frankly, in the reading of, we thought, the statute, the federal statute, and it turns out that the Court of Appeals said we were right. So I was waiting to tell you because we were on pins and needles in January to see if the Department of Health and Human Services would appeal this case, and they didn't. And so this stands, it is good law. So this is what you've all come to hear, is that we are now in the process of recouping our money. And I had some totals, and basically we're looking at recouping about $192,000. So we'll come directly back to the county. So we're looking forward to that. I talked to our attorney a couple of days ago, and I said, when can we get the check? And so we're looking at probably, she indicated anywhere from probably 4 to 6 months, could last up to a year. We have to verify all the funding, all the sources, because the gentleman unfortunately moved a few placements. And so we are looking at, once we get the verification from those facilities, hopefully we'll be able to have the check in the mail. So I just wanted to say thank you for your trust and allowing, a new judge to come before you to say, hey, I want to sue somebody. Because I really felt that it was, was the right thing to do. And as it turned out, another judge was doing the same thing, and the Court of Appeals said, yes, it was in fact a right thing to do. The other thing that she's going to help us do is we're going to go back and we're going to look at very similar cases, if there were any other cases involving a similar situation, to see if then we can apply for our recoupment of any kind of money. We're going to look from anywhere to 3 to 5 years back to see if we can ask for any more money. So, yes, sir, Commissioner.
Judge,
Go ahead.
does that also include attorney's fees?
It does not. They denied our request for attorney fees.
Go figure.
Yeah, go figure. Right. Yes, the Court of Appeals did deny our request for attorney fees, unfortunately.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, Jude.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks
It's
for
always
your,
nice to hear good news.
So thank you. I appreciate it.
That was worth the extra 2 minutes.
Yeah, please just
Yes.
state your name.
Sure. Shauna Walraven, Bay County Treasurer, and I'm no stranger, but I wanted to introduce myself to all of you as Treasurer. Rick Brzezinski ran a really great office, and I'm hoping to continue his work, but I think there's always improvements to be made, so I plan to be back with those projects to you soon. But I wanted to encourage you to come and ask any questions that you have of our office, and we can continue our work together for our constituents. Thank you.
Congratulations once again, Sean. Anyone else? Citizen input? Hearing none, we'll go to petitions and communications. Presentations. Posthumous tribute to JoAnne G. Weaver, resolution sponsored by Commissioner Kim Coonan, 4th District. I'll entertain a motion to adopt resolution 2019-13.
So moved. Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion carried. Would you please read, Kim?
I think the clerk will read the proclamation.
Resolution 2019-13 by the Bay County Board of Commissioners. Whereas on December 31st, 2018, Bay County lost a dedicated community servant with the passing of JoAnne G. Weaver. Whereas JoAnne G. Weaver, a champion of the Bay City Southwest Little League, made it her life's mission to make sure that the time spent on the ball field as 8 to 12-year-olds would be a positive experience that would remain with them as a memory of good things in their lives. Whereas JoAnne G. Weaver's impact was felt by 3 generations of youth baseball players in Bay City. And even after her sons and grandsons were done playing, she remained a presence in Southwest Little League. Whereas JoAnne G. Weaver, 2009 inductee to the Bay County Sports Hall of Fame, volunteered 55 years in a no-paying job, including the last 26 years as the league president and a district administrator. Whereas, under JoAnne G. Weaver's leadership, Southwest Little League blossomed into one of the state's premier Little League programs, winning 4 state championships, including the major baseball titles in 2008 and 2015, the 10 and Under Crown in 2006, and the 11 and Under Crown in 2017. Whereas JoAnne G. Weaver will long be remembered for the importance of the work she has done and the lives of the youth she has touched over her 55 years as a dedicated volunteer. Therefore, be it resolved that the Bay County Board of Commissioners and the Bay County Executive posthumously recognize the outstanding contribution JoAnne G. Weaver has made to the community in Bay County by exemplary performance and achievement through her 55 years as a selfless, dedicated volunteer, and on this day, offer this resolution in loving memory of JoAnne G. Weaver. Signed, Michael Duran, Chair, and the Board.
Thank you.
So, Randy and Ben, on behalf of Bay County Board of Commissioners, Jim Barsha and his staff, that says about as much as we can say, but we can improve on that. Jim really was a mainstay, and she was really known to everyone, not just in Bay County, but folks throughout the state, because she was involved in that. So on behalf of the board and Jim Barsha, we want to present you with this proclamation to the whole Weaver family. Thank you, and the moment.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, presentation from the Department of Aging from Chloe Updegraff, Great Lakes Bay Regional Census Hub.
Thank you,
Beth,
Mr. Chair.
Department
Board
of
of Commissioners,
Aging.
County Executive Jim Barsha. I bring before you Chloe Updegraff from the Great Lakes Bay Regional Census Hub with the 2020 census just around the corner, believe it or not. She's going to give you just a little update on to what we can expect. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really looking forward to sharing this information with everyone. Just to start out, introducing myself a little bit, I'm Chloe Updegraff. I am funded in this endeavor from our 4 area community foundations, so Saginaw, Midland, Bay, and Mount Pleasant. The effort has also been taken up by the Great Lakes Bay Regional Alliance. So here's a little bit about me. I am a graduate of the University of Michigan School of Public Health. Go Blue. Anyone? I see one person. Okay, thank you. I received my master's degree in public health. I have experience working with various populations. I've done work in Haiti, all the way to tribal populations in Michigan, so I feel like I'm very situated to provide a good standing for this endeavor here. So just a little bit of background. In 2010, there was a small effort to mobilize and engage nonprofits in the census work. This was just in a couple areas of the state. For 2020, we have some unique challenges. First of all, there's an increasingly older and a more diverse population in Michigan, as well as lower income as well. In addition to that, we have a population that has limited access to technology and a greater discomfort with taking part in exchanges with the government. This upcoming census, there's going to be quite a few constraints. First of all, Congress did not fund the census up to the budget that was requested. There's been about a 50% cut, so that means that local census offices, local field staff will not be out like they usually would be in past censuses. In addition to that scaled back door-to-door outreach, we do have an online model. So this is a great model for a lot of people, but for anyone who does not have access to technology or access to the internet, we have a real risk of those folks not getting counted. In addition to that, and this is more in the news lately, but there is a question on the census that asks about immigration status. So with this question, any person who is an immigrant to this country or has discomfort with disclosing anything about their family and their immigration status, that's a huge barrier for that group of people. And so because of all of that, we have a lot at stake here. So as you guys probably know, the census determines federal revenue coming into Michigan. The estimate is about $661 million that comes into the Great Lakes Bay region alone. For Bay County, we have, the Census Bureau has estimated that we have about $153 million at risk. So if people don't take part in the census, this area has the capability of losing $153 million in federal funding. So this is a big deal, and this is why we're taking on this effort now and trying to start early. So just a little bit more background on the census and what programs use census data. Medicare, Medicaid, that's a huge one. SNAP, WIC, food assistance, school lunch programs, education, Title I, our highways, housing, Section 8, foster care programs, Division on Aging, children's health, and energy assistance. So all of those programs, you know, are of course helping prop up our most at-risk populations. And so what we're finding is the folks that are most at risk, the folks that are utilizing these programs, are going to be the ones least likely to participate in this upcoming census, and that is why we are really pushing to try to get those at risk for being counted to be counted. So I'm going to go through this part really quickly, but the census has an impact on state budgets. So obviously economy, public policy, planning for federal and state funds appropriated, Section 8 housing, food assistance, like I talked about, state aid to local areas, you know, and then of course our representation in Congress. So this regional census hub, we have the funding partners like I discussed, the Bay, Mount Pleasant, Midland, and Saginaw Community Foundation. They're providing the funds for my position as well as the outreach work that we're going to do. That outreach work includes providing mini grants to area nonprofits. And what's great about that is that we can to give funds to local nonprofits, the ones that are working with the most disenfranchised people in our communities, provide the funds so that they can reach their populations and make sure that we get people counted. So this is a great partnership. And like I said, it's a regional one where we are really working to make sure that the most disenfranchised people in our community are getting reached by the census. So here's the goals. Mobilize nonprofits in the community, provide trainings, assist those nonprofits in identifying the really hard to count populations. Like I mentioned, the mini grants that we'll be able to award, work with local government, and really try to get this outreach effort so that we're getting this community its full power. So kind of going back to the barriers that I talked about before, there are several barriers with this upcoming census. And so the Council of Michigan Foundations and the Michigan Nonprofit Association kind of were the initial thinkers in this thought process to get these regional census hubs going. So we have a variety of foundations around the state. We have about 10 census hubs that are kind of doing this work. We're the only one in this area up until we get to the UP. So we have a lot of work to do, that's for sure. But the main point that I want to get across to you guys, and the thing that's really at stake here, is that we could lose $1,800 for every person not counted. And that's, of course, multiplied by that 10-year time span. So, you know, going back to the $153 million that I said before, you know, if we're looking at each individual person, we're looking at thousands of dollars for each person that doesn't decide to take the census. And so this is so huge for so many programs, so many things that rely on this funding stream. So this is why these nonprofits have gotten involved in this. I'm a public health person. Public health is all about prevention. And so I see this effort as a public health effort with so many public health programs dependent on census data. We're getting out in front of this and taking it on as a preventative measure. Okay, this is a busy slide, so we're gonna kind of just keep this one pretty easy. But basically this shows, you know, the hub's responsibilities, our local nonprofit grantees that we'll be awarding those mini grant dollars to, and then the campaign infrastructure. So I'd be happy to kind of share this, but that's a lot on one slide to see. So, but it basically shows kind of our budget, our framework, and how we plan to utilize those on-the-ground nonprofits. So, like I said, We're representing Saginaw, Midland, Bay, and Mount Pleasant. The goal of the campaign is to really make sure that the whole region is counted, but especially those that are the most disenfranchised in these 4 communities, folks that are elderly, folks with low access to technology, low income, minority populations, immigrant populations. The goal is to make sure that those folks get counted, that that federal funding stream stays here in this community, and we don't lose those important dollars for these important programs. Thank you so much. If there are questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Questions?
Yeah.
Commissioner Coonan?
Yes, thank you for the information. When do you start and when do you expect to be done?
Okay, I just started about a month ago. My background is actually with the state of Michigan. I was in community health, and so we have just started this endeavor. We think that we're starting it early enough that we can create those partnerships with the local nonprofits and really galvanize the nonprofit community ahead of the census. People can start taking the census early 2020. But our goal is to establish these partnerships early, award many grant dollars ahead of the census so that those on-the-ground nonprofits can be completing their work. This is a 2-year grant, so it's basically funded for all of 2019 through the end of 2020. At the end of 2020 is when Congress delivers the census data to the president.
And then this information will be used for the 2020 elections then, or for the redistricting?
Yes, so, and that's the hope too, even with the new redistricting proposal 2 in Michigan, potentially using some of this census data as well for the 2022 election.
Anyone else? I have one question. Will you be partnering like with our Department on Aging for outreach to, because, you know, they deliver so many Meals on Wheels?
Yes, so that's a great question. We are currently creating an advisory council for each community. They're all unique and all different, but the goal is to have representation of various nonprofits from the community on that council. Yep, any nonprofit that is hidden seniors, minority groups, you know, low-income folks, we want them part of this endeavor. And with the mini grants that we'll be awarding, the advisory council will help kind of dictate and decide where those grant funds go to. But definitely the goal is to get the funds into the hands of the organizations that are doing the most work for the most disenfranchised populations.
Mr. Barsha?
Yeah, Chloe, I wanted to thank you for your presentation. And you know, we've all, the commission and chairman, myself, all been talking about the dilemma our county is in as we see a declining glide path in terms of property tax revenue collections. And then when you compound, you know, the loss of population with state and federal revenue sharing, per pupil aid, and road funding, it's putting us in a financial bind. So it's critical that we count every single resident of Bay County and the region, you know, in the census population effort. And just want to thank you for the information and say that in addition to large tracts of land being bought by the federal government, taking off with the 1999 settlement of powertrain and the dioxins on the landfill, in addition PCBs, I mean, and then the dioxin issue in the Tittabawassee River. With those negotiations coming up, I have requested and been supported by Laura Ogar and others to have a seat at the table, or local government have a seat at the table, to discuss the impact of when you take large tracts of privately held land off the tax rolls and the kind of consequences that we have to live with at the local level to compensate for that reduced funding. And the census and population is critical. We've gone from, and I don't know how in the last span of years, not a long time, but the last several years, from 107,000 population in Bay County to 105, to the last count I saw was 102. So our challenge is to turn around those numbers, first by making sure everyone is counted, but then secondly, doing whatever we can to expand job opportunities and tax base to compensate for some of the losses in federal and state revenue sharing, road funding based on population, and other factors, as well as just continually, slowly seeing our property tax privately owned property shrink. So we appreciate your efforts and
Thank
hope
you.
that all of your folks will be diligent in terms of reaching out to try to contact every person who's a legal resident. We know in the past that some people have been hesitant to fill out that information. They think it's an invasion of privacy. But then, as a resident of Bay County, they end up paying the consequences if they're not counted. But
Yep.
could you maybe touch on just the level of resistance you find from some people thinking that the census is an invasion of their privacy?
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, to your point, you're exactly right. We need to get out in front of this and make sure that people are counted. I mean, just kind of doing the math in my head, the population drop that you guys have experienced in the last decade, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. So you're exactly right. To your question about resistance, there definitely is resistance. People feel it is a violation of their privacy, but more than that, I think this immigration status question that has a strong potential of being included in the census, and we'll see, it potentially might not, but I think with a question like that, a lot of minority populations are feeling fear and distrust to share their information. Part of what our endeavor is going to do is to provide that education and that outreach to assure people, and in concert with the local nonprofits that they trust, that it's safe to take the census, that it's the census workers, they take a lifetime oath to not share that information. You know, there's Title 13, which prevents the Census Bureau from sharing that information with other government agencies. So there are protections out there, but I think people don't know that those exist. And so there's definitely a lot of fear. We're encountering just a lot of resistance and uphill battle. And so that's why I just think it's going to be so important that we work with these local nonprofits, the soup kitchens, shelters that people trust, where people go for getting their needs met. And so the goal of this will be to put the power in the hands of those organizations, and get the education out there that people can trust this. You know, and it's so much more than our representation in Congress. It's these vital programs like Medicaid and SNAP food assistance that people use and need. So a big goal of the program, of this endeavor, will be to get that education out and then partner with the on-the-ground nonprofits to help.
Yes, thanks, and understand we're on track to lose another House seat in the congressional allocations. So
That is a strong possibility.
We seem to lose a member of Congress about every 10 years. Census is taken, so
Yep.
gives us less clout in the legislative branch, the federal government. But anyway, thanks.
Thank
for
you.
the very-
Commissioner Herrick,
Thank
you
you.
had?
I do have a question. Are you having an office in every county, or how are you going to be set up?
Yeah, so I'm actually housed at the Great Lakes Bay Regional Alliance in Freeland as a central location. But since the grant is funded through all 4 of the community foundations, I will be at each one and in each community, just to provide that presence and that outreach and education. So main office is in Freeland, but I'll be in all 4 counties.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
I move to receive the report.
Motion to receive is in order.
So moved. Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Motion carried. Thank you once again, Chloe.
Thank you so much for having me.
Next, we have recommendations for the appointment to the Bay County Veterans Affairs Committee. We're going to start off with Congressionally Chartered Veterans Organization. Pardon me? I'll entertain a motion to receive all the applications.
Support.
Did you get the motion? Okay. We have motion and support. All those, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Now we're good to go. Okay, so we have, this term ends the second Tuesday in January 2023. Those people that qualify are Michael Pergandy, American Legion Post 18, Marilyn Lazars, Polish Legion of American Veterans, and Troy Stewart, Marine Corps League.
Start the vote with Commissioner Coonan.
Now, we're voting for 5, right?
Voting
Pardon?
for one
Just one
person
right now.
in this one position, the member representing a congressional chartered veterans organization within the county recommended by the post.
We're ultimately going to do
term.
5, though, at some point.
Yes.
There'll be a total of 5 when we finish the
All right.
voting.
At one time, it was 7, but I guess we're down to 5 now, right?
Yeah.
So I'm voting for 1 out of this first 1, 2, 3.
Correct.
Troy Stewart.
Mr. Herrick,
I'm for Gandy.
Ryder,
Gandy?
Lutz,
For Gandy.
Krieger,
Lazars.
Big excused, Durancheck.
Pergandy?
Gandy, 4 votes. Lazar's 1 vote. Troy Stewart, 1 vote. So we need a motion.
I will entertain a motion to accept
So
Michael Pergandy,
Wait,
American Legion Post 18.
motion to appoint.
Motion to appoint? We have
All
that?
those in favor?
Support.
Yep, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign? Motion carried. Now we move into, we vote for not more than 4. Are we going to do all 4 at once or just 1?
Just 1.
Okay.
This next vote that we conduct will be for an independent member who may or may not be a member of a congressionally chartered veterans organization within the county. This is a partial 4-year term commencing February 12, 2019, ending the second Tuesday in January 2022. We will vote out of all of the members listed with exception of Pergandy. And we would start the vote with Commissioner Herrick.
Troy Stewart.
Ryder.
Stewart?
Lutz.
Stewart.
Krieger.
Stewart.
Big excused. Chair Durancheck.
Stewart?
Coonan, excuse me.
Stewart.
6 votes, Stewart.
We'll entertain a motion to receive and appoint.
Support.
We got motion and support. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The next vote will be for a veteran honorably discharged from active service, a partial 4-year term commencing February 12, 2019, ending the second Tuesday in January of 2021. We'll start the voting and remove Troy Stewart with Commissioner Ryder.
Bruce Douglas?
Thank you. Lutz.
Jonathan Vental.
Krieger.
Jonathan Van Tall.
Big is excused. Coonan.
Jonathan Van Tall.
Herrick.
Fred Zippler.
Durancheck.
Jonathan Van Tol.
4 for Van Tol, 1 Zippler, 1 Douglas. Candidate Van Tol. Is there a motion?
Motion to, pardon me? Motion to approve? Receive. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
The next vote, removing candidates Van Tol and Stewart, will be for a veteran honorably discharged from active service. This will be a partial 4-year term commencing February 12, 2019, ending the second Tuesday in January of 2023. We'll start the vote with Lutz.
Marilyn Lazar.
Krieger.
Marilyn.
Begich is excused. Coonan.
Lazar.
Herrick.
Lazarus.
Ryder.
Lazarus.
Durancheck.
Lazars.
6 votes cast for Lazars.
Motion to approve and receive. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
And the last position to be filled will be a veteran honorably discharged from active service, partial 4-year term commencing February 12, 2019, ending the second Tuesday of January of 2022. And we will remove those candidates already voted, starting with Commissioner Krieger.
Though I didn't get a better offer, Von Begich.
Begich is excused. Coonan.
Bruce Douglas.
Herrick.
Begich.
Ryder.
Begich.
Lutz.
Begich.
Coonan.
Douglas. From
Oh, I
Chicago.
got that.
We will early enough.
Sorry.
Double dipping.
She called my name, didn't
Durancheck.
But you're still on.
she? Yes.
Begich.
Thank
That's
you.
how they do
We have
that.
Douglas 1, Begich 5.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Support. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Motion carried. Thank you very much. And thank you for all the applicants. Very well qualified. I think we got a good bunch there. Next on the agenda, we go to reports and resolution of committees. Ways and Means Chairman, Thomas Herrick, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I bring before you resolution number 2019-14, the reclassification of youth and family counselor position from probate court. Move that resolution.
Support. We have motion and support. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution number 2019-15, the Polish Legion of American Veterans funding for their convention. I move that resolution.
Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution number 2019-16, proposed improvements at the Bay County Fairgrounds. I move that resolution.
Support. We have motion and support. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution number 2019-17, a rental use agreement for 15 years with the Fair Board for the use of the fairgrounds. Move that resolution.
Support. We have motion and support. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution number 2019-18, the 2019 Marine Safety Grant Program. I move that resolution.
Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution 2019-19, a grant application for fiscal year 2019 from the SP Public Act 416, contract amendment. I move that resolution.
Support. We have motion and support. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution number 2019-20, 2019 property and liability coverage. I move that resolution.
Support. We have motion and support. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution number 2019-21, agreement with Lamar Billboards. I move that resolution.
Support. We have motion and support. Discussion. Commissioner Krieger.
Thank you. Young lady.
Yes, sir.
So just to get the word out about what these billboards are going to say, this is for the Senior Olympics that are coming up, correct?
Correct.
So maybe...
May 29th through June 14th, 2019, for 55-year and better population for Bay County. And if they want to come from Saginaw and other counties, it's a little bit more money to come and play, but anybody 55 years and better can
And who
come.
do they contact?
They contact us to get on the mailing list so that we can send them out all the forms that they need.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution number 2019-22, the revised GIS Memorandum of Agreement. I move that resolution.
Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution number 2019-23, 2019 Assistance to Firefighter Grant. I move that resolution.
Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution number 2019-24, RFP for Forensic Pathology Services. I move that resolution.
Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution number 2019-25, the 2018-2019 CPBC Comprehensive Agreement Amendment Number 1. I move that resolution.
Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution number 2019-26, the 2019 Tire Shredding Contract with Environmental Rubber. I move that resolution.
Support.
I have a question. Yeah, there she is. The mosquito lady. Getting ready for a big season, I bet. Although with all the cold, hopefully they killed off a few.
we'll let the
Your
snow
tire,
pass.
reclaiming the old tires, you're gonna do something up in, like before at Fraser
Yeah,
or somewhere up there?
correct. Yeah, we put in an application for a DEQ scrap tire grant, which we found out we were recently approved of for up to $8,000. And in that grant, we had to declare where we wanted to have our two sites. So one will be at our Bay County office in June, and then Fraser Township, again, agreed to have a second location at Fraser Township Hall, which will likely be in August.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. We have I'm sorry,
Ms. Brandt,
Mr.
while you're
Barsha.
here, I would like to take a moment to thank you for your service as Mosquito Control Director of Bay County. The excellent job you did last spring, targeting some of the areas that felt neglected. Northern Bay County, not a whole lot of population, but a lot of breeding ground and territory for mosquitoes. And to especially thank you for the acclaim you brought to Bay County. Could you give me the exact award that you won? Again, because I was excited to read the correspondence about it. You've been selected by your peers as an outstanding director for mosquito control. Could you talk a little bit and share that with the board about
Sure.
your significant accomplishment?
Thank you, Mr. Barsha. Yeah, I was recently awarded through the Michigan Mosquito Control Association, which is our state's nonprofit educational and mosquito awareness organization, I guess. I was awarded the H. Don Newson Distinguished Service Award for a mosquito control member. So basically, it was recognizing the effort that I put into mosquito control, promoting integrated mosquito management, which is basically understanding the science behind mosquito control and not just rampant pesticide application, and also educating people that don't do mosquito control on the correct way to do it and trying to get more areas in Detroit and Grand Rapids, areas like that do have mosquito-borne disease, to practice mosquito control measures responsibly.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We have a motion and support. All those in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution number 2019-27, the 2019 Light Trap Data Collector Contracts. I move that resolution.
Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution 2019-28, the 2019 Control Material Bids. I move that resolution.
Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution number 2019-29, payables from General, Bayonet, and Center Ridge Arms. I move that resolution.
Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution number 2019-30, budget adjustments for DHHS and prosecutor. I move that resolution.
Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution number 2019-31, in 2019, clear the shelter events and the waiver of adoption fees for the events. I move that resolution.
Support.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
And resolution 2019-32, monitoring services for 2019. I move that resolution.
Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
And that is all, Mr. Chairman, from the Ways and Means Committee.
Ways and Means was very busy. Good job, Mr. Chairman. Personnel and Human Services, Chairman Tom Ryder, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have Resolution 2019-33, Consumers Energy Donation of $882. I would move that resolution, please.
Support.
We have motion, support. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution 2019-34, Agreement for Care Connect 360. I would move that.
Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution 2019-35, Agreement with Medical Advantage Group. I will move that.
Support.
We have motion, support. All those in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution 2019-36, Agreement with Recovery Pathways LLC. I move that forward.
Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Resolution 2019-37, new positions and vacancies in Department on Aging, Health Department, and Mosquito Control. I move that forward.
Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
That's all we have before you today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. From the Board of Commissioners, Commissioner Lutz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today I bring Resolution 2019-38, the reports of the county executive. I make a motion to receive these reports from the county executive.
Support.
We have motion and support. All those in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Next, Mr. Chairman, I bring the resolution about the St. Patrick's Day Association. They wish to put up a hospitality tent out front here during the St. Patrick's Day Parade. And this is a motion to grant that with the, and we'll have to get an agreement worked out with, legal agreement with Amber, which we don't have at this point. Emma?
Authorize the chairman to sign.
Oh, yeah, we have to authorize the chairman to sign that agreement.
We have Commissioner Krieger.
Just a question. So with it being called a hospitality tent, are there adult beverages being served there?
I called the treasurer, who is the one who made contact with us. Her name is JoAnne Rao, and she said, no, absolutely not. There will be no alcohol.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? We had a motion. I don't think we had a support.
No, we didn't get a support yet.
Support. No alcohol, no support. See how you guys are? See how you are. We have motion and support. All those in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
And that's all I have from the Board of Commissioners, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Lutz. Next, we move into
Left me hanging there.
reports of the county officials. County Executive Barsha.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've spoken enough for one meeting today, but I did want to share with the commissioners and the audience that today Dana Muscat and myself took part in the State of the Community Address at Doubletree. We highlighted the progress we've made over the past year, what we're looking forward to in the new year, runs throughout 2019. And many, I acknowledge the key role that the Board of Commissioners plays. We can't do anything unless we're on the same team, working together. and to thank all of the Board of Commissioners, which I did publicly, and just to say that the issues we covered resonated well in the audience after the event, and I let them know that commissioners, nothing can happen without the Board of Commissioners approving or disapproving our policies. So I want to thank you, and just share with you, I received a lot of positive comments about some of the changes we made at the county level over the past 12 months. That's it.
Thank you. Next, we have reports from the Director of Administrative Services, our Freedom of Information Act statistics, July through December. So you gave us the reports. Do we need to receive those? Motion to receive would be in order.
Support.
We have motion and support to receive. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
All those opposed, carried. Unfinished business. Miscellaneous. Announcements, 2019 appointments, March. Bay Aranac Behavioral Health Authority, three-year terms expiring. B, Region 7, Area Agency on the Board of Directors, 1 3-year term. In June, Library Board, 1 5-year term. October, Land Bank Authority, 1 3-year term. B, Department of Health and Human Services Board of Directors, 1 3-year term. C, Board of Canvassers, 2 4-year terms expiring. Walter Wozniak, Democrat. Matthew Lance, Republican. Appointments are made from a list supplied by major political parties. November, Building Authority, 2 6-year terms expiring. And then in December, we have the Department on Aging Advisory Committee, 4 2-year terms expiring in districts 1, 3, 5, and 7. Any need for a closed session? No. Thank you, ma'am.
Move to adjourn.
Always in order. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're done.